The 2021 Atlanta Braves have one of the craziest runs to the World Series out of any team in recent memory. Marred by injury, off-field issues, and underperformance during the first half, the team found their stride down the stretch and turned what seemed to be a lost season into Atlanta's first World Championship since 1995. Their story begins in the season prior. The shortened season of 2020 saw the Braves win the National League East for a third consecutive year. They swept the Cincinnati Reds in the wildcard round and the Miami Marlins in the Division Series to advance to their first National League Championship Series since 2001. There they met the Los Angeles Dodgers, a team that had had the Braves' number in recent postseason meetings. After going up 2-0 in the series, a trip to the Fall Classic looked imminent. But then, the Braves saw everything they had been working for slip away as the Dodgers came back in the series to win in Game 7. The Braves needed to reevaluate over the offseason and address their needs. The weak link during the 2020 season was a starting rotation. After Mike Soroka went down with a torn Achilles, Max Fried was the only established piece of the rotation. Ian Anderson made an impactful debut in 2020, but he was also still young. And the other starters struggled with consistency. Realizing this weakness, Braves general manager Alex Anthopoulos went into the free agent market and signed veteran starters Charlie Morton and Drew Smyly. The other big case-up for the offseason was Marcell Ozuna's expiring contract. Ozuna signed a one-year deal with the Braves the offseason prior and had proven to be a huge pickup. During the 60-game 2020 season, Ozuna slugged a .338 average with a .1067 OPS, 18 home runs, and 56 RBIs. 2 weeks before spring training, Ozuna re-signed with the Braves with a 4-year, $64 million contract. Over the offseason, the Braves lost some key players as well. Veteran outfielder Nick Markakis retired after a 15-year career, and Am Duvall was signed by the Marlins. Other players who departed on free agency included Charlie Culberson, Darren O'Day, Adeiny Hechavarria, and closer Mark Melancon. The Braves had made some moves in the offseason, but so did their division foes. The Mets acquired the likes of Francisco Lindor and Carlos Carrasco. The Phillies re-signed JT Realmuto. The Nationals added Kyle Schwarber and Josh Bell. The Marlins signed Am Duvall away from the Braves. With other teams in the division seemingly loading up more than the Braves, season projections had Atlanta coming fourth in the division for the upcoming season, despite winning the division the past 3 seasons. After spring training, the Braves went into the season with high hopes and looked to start off strong. Except, they didn't. The Braves were swept by their rival Phillies on the opening series of the year. Perhaps even more heartbreaking, on the second day of the season, Major League Baseball chose to strip Atlanta of hosting the 2021 All-Star Game due to laws passed in Georgia regarding photo IDs and voting. This decision brought disappointment and outrage throughout the Braves fan base. The move was a blow both in terms of morale and financially for the Braves, the city of Atlanta, and for the entire state of Georgia. The following day, the Braves were seen wearing a gray patch on their sleeves, covering what the day before had been the logo for the All-Star Game. Following the Phillies series and a loss to Washington, the team started 0-4. Yet with a pivotal turn of events, the Braves went from losing 4 in a row to winning 4 in a row, including 2 against the Phillies and Nationals each. It seemed the Braves had found their stride and had shook off the early season jitters. Except, they didn't. They immediately followed the win streak with another 4-game losing streak to drop down to 4-8. The first of these 4 losses came with great controversy. With the game tied late, Phillies third baseman Alec Bohm was making a break for the plate and was ruled safe. With the nature of the situation, the call was taken up for video review. Despite angles showing Bohm never touched the plate, the call was upheld, and the Braves would lose in the following inning. This losing streak was only snapped by a walk-off win over the Marlins. Not only were the results for the Braves being mirrored week to week, but the scores were being mirrored day by day. In Chicago, the Braves lost to the Cubs by a score of 13-4, only to win by the same 13-4 score the next day. It was during this series that the injury plague for the Braves began to happen. During the first game, Ender Inciarte pulled a hamstring while running to third base, and he would miss significant playing time, eventually leading to his release. We are now towards the end of April. The Braves still have not been above 500. They are not doing bad, but they are just not doing enough to get over the hump. The main struggles come from the offense. Ronald Acuna Jr. thus far has been the only bat consistently producing. On April 21st, reigning MVP Freddie Freeman was hitting just .222. Ozzie Albies was batting .155, and Austin Riley is hitting .250 and looking like one of the coldest hitters in the league. This lack of offense was made quite evident with Madison Bumgarner throwing a 7-inning no-hitter against the Braves on April 25th. But the Braves were starting to get offensive production from an unexpected source. Starting pitcher Huascar Ynoa was having a strong start to the season, not just on the mound, but with the bat too. On April 28th, Ynoa hit his first career home run against the Cubs. He followed this up on his next start by hitting a grand slam against the Nationals. On this same day, the Braves signed catcher Tyler Flowers. This came 2 days after Travis d'Arnaud tore a ligament in his thumb, which required surgery and would see d'Arnaud sidelined until August. Flowers had been with the Braves the last several seasons and had proven to be a productive bat at times, as well as a source of experience for younger players. Despite this signing, however, Flowers retired from baseball just 10 days later. The injury bug would return to haunt the Braves, this time claiming Huascar Ynoa. On May 16th, Ynoa was starting for the Braves against the Brewers. Milwaukee got to Ynoa early, scoring 5 runs off of him in 4 1/3 innings. When Ynoa was pulled, he punched the bench out of frustration.
Just got a little frustrated after his outing yesterday and punched the seat in the dugout and broke his hand. So, it's going to be a couple of months probably that he's going to be down. Then we're going to end up having to get him built back up. So I hate to see that. The young guy was doing so good, and it's going to be a big loss for us.
But as the season went on, the wild games between the Braves and Phillies were far from over, as on May 8th, the Braves trailed Philly by 2 entering the bottom of the 9th. Pablo Sandoval, who already had many clutch pinch-hit home runs for the Braves this season, launched a 2-run blast to tie the game. Philly would not go away, and they went ahead by 1 in the 11th. Yet the Braves tied it again with an infield single by Ere Adrianza. Once again, Philly would not go away, this time scoring 3 in the top of the 12th. Yet once again, the Braves would not be denied and came back with a bases-loaded double by William Contreras to tie the game, followed by Ere Adrianza again to walk it off. The Phillies managed to blow 3 saves in just one game, and the Braves were all too pleased to make it happen. Towards the end of May, the bats were finally starting to liven up for Atlanta. In their second game against the Pirates, the Braves lit them up to score 20 runs in a game for the second consecutive season. The good news would soon be cut short, however. Marcell Ozuna fractured multiple fingers while sliding into third base in Boston. Following his placement on the injured list, he got into a domestic violence case with his wife and was arrested.
Braves outfielder Marcell Ozuna has been arrested on domestic violence charges. He's accused of hitting a woman with his cast and trying to strangle her at his home in Sandy Springs. According to Fulton County Jail records, Ozuna was booked Saturday on charges of aggravated assault, strangulation, and battery domestic violence first offense. That is a misdemeanor.
Despite the setbacks, the Braves were holding steady, albeit they are holding steady just below the 500 mark. By the end of May, Atlanta had a 25-26 record in the season. Early into June, the Braves faced a big test with the Los Angeles Dodgers coming to town. While the Braves were struggling to get over 500, the Dodgers had been cruising. Los Angeles entered the series a full 10 games over 500 and had been over 500 ever since the third game of the season. Despite losing Game 1, the Braves managed to win the series, including defeating Trevor Bauer in a Game 3 rubber match. While the series may have been a confidence boost, it quickly fell into the rearview mirror as the Braves began to skid once again. By June 16th, they are in third place at 5 games under 500 and a full 8 games behind the first place Mets. Fangraphs projections for the Braves had taken a beating too. By this point, the probability for the Braves to make the postseason was at just 12%, and the chances of winning the World Series were at 0.8%. There was worse news to come for the Braves and their fans. Since tearing his Achilles in 2020, Mike Soroka had undergone surgery and had been taking part in rehab. During the rehab, Soroka had been feeling discomfort and required an exploratory surgery. The results revealed that his body was rejecting the sutures, however the Achilles itself was healed. But on June 26, his first day out of a walking boot, Soroka felt a pop in his ankle while walking to the clubhouse. He had suffered a complete re-tear of his Achilles tendon and had to begin the entire rehab process all over again. Less than 2 weeks later, the Braves' star young outfielder Ronald Acuna Jr. was tracking a fly ball in Miami. After lunging in an attempt to make a catch, he landed hard on his knee, injuring it and had to be carted off. MRI revealed that he had suffered a torn ACL. In a span of just 2 weeks, the Braves' star young bat and star young pitcher had suffered severe injuries with long-term recoveries ahead of them. The Braves are now looking at what appears to be a lost season. On the topic of pitching, the Braves' bullpen, which was so good for the team in 2020, have been all over the place in 2021. During the first half of the season, the bullpen had an ERA of 4.58 and had lost a total of 20 games, the second worst in the National League, and 13 blown saves. The Braves had tried multiple options for the closer role, such as A.J. Minter, Will Smith, and Shane Green, but none were finding reliable success. As the focus of the league shifted towards the All-Star game, which was now being held in Colorado, the Braves went into the break with a 44-45 record. The Braves did send Freddie Freeman and Ozzie Albies to the game, along with Ronald Acuna being named an All-Star despite his injury. Although, Braves fans were more focused on the team's slumbering performance through the first half of the season, along with the minor dissatisfaction that the All-Star game was supposed to be hosted in Atlanta. With the team off the pace of years past, key players falling onto the injured list, and the Summer Classic stripped from their city, 2021 was looking to be a year for Braves fans to forget. But that is only what it seemed.